at the
All right, welcome into the mid-morning update as we are taking a look at our weather impacts for the next 3 days. We are looking at Sunday or Saturday being the highest impact day over these next 3 days. Of course, the big weather story is going to be the cold starting tomorrow, which is why we're in the orange, and then the cold and snow, which is why we're in the red on Saturday. Sunday, just cold and the aftermath of the snow if we were going to go out on the fourth day. But just quickly going through what to expect for today, because it is our final day of mild temperatures and lots of sunshine for the area, so hopefully you can take advantage of it. Today is the day to make sure you are preparing, that you need to run any errands that you have to do. You'll be fine tomorrow snowfall wise. I don't expect much in the way of snow during the day tomorrow, which we'll take a look at in our computer models here in just a second, but it's going to be awfully cold. We're talking wind chills below zero all day long tomorrow. So that's why it's really important if you want to get any chores done today, to do it today, but you still have time tomorrow before the snow moves in by Saturday evening. Not much going on across the country on Prairie Band Casino and Resort Live Storm Tracker, but this is definitely going to be changing in a huge way tomorrow through the entire weekend, as a major storm system is going to be impacting much of the southeastern half of the country. We're monitoring those colder temperatures already. It's down to 6 in Minneapolis, 16 below in Minot, and it's that Arctic air that is going to be making its way into our area as we head into tonight with the Arctic front. 27 degrees in Topeka, most areas in the mid-20s to low 30s for the area, a few mid-30s as well, with wind chill values in the 20s. We actually have a light wind, maybe a few wind gusts 10 to 15 miles per hour today, but certainly not looking at too bad of conditions as the day progresses. Latest supercast shows that most spots will end up in the upper 30s and low 40s for today, with the sunshine and then cooling down into the low to mid-20s for several areas, even a few upper teens by midnight. All right, so here's what we're going to really be focusing on is the winter weather that's going to be arriving for tonight. There is a cold weather advisory that is issued for some counties, mainly along the Nebraska-Kansas border tonight, and then for all of northeast Kansas starting tomorrow night. Remember, the cold weather advisory is the wording that replaces the wind chill advisory. That's, at least here in northeast Kansas, when wind chills could get down to 15 below zero or even 20 below zero. Once it gets colder than 20 below zero, which right now I'm not thinking that we're going to be in, but if it's a possibility, that might turn into a cold weather warning, and that would be the same thing as a wind chill warning like it used to be. But it's going to be with us all the way through Sunday, maybe even into Monday morning in some spots too. So we have the cold, and then we have the snow. Unless you're along the Nebraska-Kansas border, which, by the way, you're going to get snow still, but not to winter storm watch criteria. This is going to be starting tomorrow night. We doing good, Phil? Okay. All right. Friday night through Saturday night, we do have the winter storm watch in effect for much of northeast Kansas. This is either going to be upgraded to a winter storm warning. It likely will. Or, if you're along the Nebraska-Kansas border, winter weather advisory. But if you're in the blue, I have pretty high confidence that you will get at least 3 inches worth of snow. And it's very possible the minimum could even be 4. But right now I'm going 3, just in case there's any last minute shift in the storm track for the rest of the day today and into tomorrow as new computer model data comes in. Look at how extensive this storm system is. You can see the winter storm warnings already being issued for a good portion of Oklahoma, northern Texas, Arkansas. A lot of that blue may even change over to pink later on today in the winter storm warning, or it may even change to, I'm blanking on what the color scheme is for an ice warning, but there is the potential for ice down to our south. Not here in northeast Kansas, but down to our south. And you can see how it extends all the way to the east coast. So if you're traveling anywhere in these areas between tomorrow through the weekend, expect delays. And if you can avoid it, do not travel in these areas that are highlighted in the blue or the pink right now, because it is going to be an absolute mess. And it may last several days into next week as well, especially down in the south for those that aren't able to recover as quickly from winter weather, snow or ice, especially down in Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. I don't think it's going to be as quick of, I think it's going to be a much quicker recovery here in northeast Kansas, because we're used to the snow that we're going to get here. Shouldn't be as bad, but It's going to be a lot more of a recovery efforts down in the south on clearing out the snow and the ice. Just to give you an idea of what we're looking at, this is the latest European model showing a lot of purple, which indicates at least 6 inches of snow, and a lot of pink, which indicates the ice danger. And that's where several areas could get some significant ice across those areas. So definitely want to be paying close attention to that area as well. All right, so first question. When is it going to start? When is the snow going to start? I'm going to be showing you 2 computer models and giving you an idea of what each of them are. And just knowing that it is still subject to change. This is what we're going to be keeping an eye on very closely throughout the day tomorrow as the snow that develops around midday in western Kansas makes its way into our area at some point in the afternoon or evening hours. But here's the latest timing. This is the HER, 3 p.m. Not much going on, but then it starts to increase as we get towards the sunset and into the 7 o'clock hour with some light snow. We're going to continue with that light snow through the evening, but maybe drying out by 6 a.m. on Saturday. All right, so here's how much snow we could potentially get. This is through 6 p.m., showing a little bit of trace to a ½ inch from Manhattan up towards Marysville and out to the west. Still nothing off to the east through 6 p.m. Through about 8, 9 o'clock, now we're looking at many spots getting into that dusting to an inch, unless you're down near I-35, or you may not have anything at all. And then once we get through the rest of the late evening hours, now we have many spots in that 2 to 3 inch range, especially along and north of I-70 and closer to about that ½ inch to an inch south of I-70. And then through the rest of the overnight periods, now we're looking at many spots in that 1.5 to almost 4 and 4.5 inch category across the area. Again, this is one computer model's opinion. This is not a guarantee. We look at several different computer models and we base it off of what we think is going to happen on all that. I'm just showing you that right now. I'm going to show you my actual forecast here in just a second. All right, so here's another computer model's opinion. This is 3 p.m. We're dry. By 7, that snow is still out in north central Kansas, with most areas still dry across the area, and then it moves eastward through the rest of the evening hours, showing that snow continuing, showing snow in the morning. Remember that the HER, the first computer model showed that we were going to dry out early in the morning on Saturday. This model still shows snow, and I'm leaning more towards this version. I'm still seeing some snow at sunrise on Saturday, but we may get a break by the afternoon before we get another wave pushing into the area, heading into Saturday night and early Sunday morning. Most of that stays south of I-70, so you may be wondering on that first model, the HER, why areas south of I-70 wasn't getting as much as areas north of I-70, where my full forecast has higher snowfall totals south of I-70 overall. It's because of that second round Saturday night that increases that threshold of snowfall on top of what you may have Friday night and a Saturday morning. So here's what this says, 6 p.m., not much. Most areas still dry. Once you get through 9 o'clock, maybe up to an inch up in north central Kansas, still absolutely nothing along and east of Highway 75. And then through the rest of the evening and overnight periods, now we have many spots in that roughly 2.5 to 3.5 inch category. Obviously, some areas not quite as much. And then for the rest of this time period through Sunday morning, that's where the higher snowfall totals get down towards our southern communities compared to areas up to the north. That's why my forecast calls for those higher snowfall totals down to the south. Okay, so with all that being said, here's what we're looking at. What we want to look at, and I'm going to full screen this so you can see. What we want to look at is how much precipitation is going to fall, regardless of what precipitation type it is. Now, it is going to be snow for us, no doubt about that. But what I want to look at is precipitation type, or precipitation amounts. The higher the precipitation amounts, the heavier the snow is going to be. And because of how cold it's going to be, that increases the snow to liquid ratio. So let's say we're going to get 1 inch of liquid precipitation. You saw in that previous graphic, most spots were in that 1/4 to even a ½ inch. So just keep that in mind. But the colder it is, the heavier the snow it is, because of how dry it is. You don't have as much moisture, so it's easier to accumulate and a lot faster to accumulate. And so with how cold it's going to be, and likely in the single digits, maybe low teens for the warmest part of the day on Saturday, that's really, really cold. Now, a lot of you may think it's too cold to snow. That's not a thing. It can be too dry to snow, absolutely, but too cold to snow, it can snow at any temperature. It has to be that, you have to have that moisture. And sometimes it's hard to get that moisture when it is cold, but it's not because it's cold, it's because we don't have that moisture. So those are a couple of factors that we're monitoring as far as how that could impact how much snow we're going to end up getting. So I have us in the low snow impact with road conditions Friday afternoon before increasing Friday evening and certainly into the overnight periods of Friday night. And then overnight periods of Friday night and Saturday are going to be the worst of the roads. Saturday night too. And then on Sunday, I still have us in that upper low and low medium or moderate category, especially in the morning. I think once we get towards the afternoon, that'll help. That'll be enough time for road crews to clear out a lot of the roadways. But with that in mind, also, you'll make sure that you're keeping an eye on those road conditions on camdrive.gov, a perfect website to go to make sure you're keeping an eye on any potential road closures that could exist. With how heavy the snow is going to be, even though winds won't be as bad Friday night and Saturday compared to what it will be on Friday. Whatever snow falls, and because of how dry, fluffy, and light it's going to be, that could certainly limit visibilities and blow that snow around once it reaches the ground. Wind should stay at about 10 miles per hour with those sustained winds heading into Saturday and even into Sunday too. All right, so with all that being said, we looked at the data. Now we're going to look at the forecast, and keep in mind this is subject to change. I'm going to be looking at other computer models between now and midday, and I might adjust this for midday in Kansas. Right now I'm going trace to 3 inches. To be honest, I could probably just go 1 to 3 inches in that upper threshold. I just wanted to keep it at a trace early this morning because if there's a southern shift in the storm track last minute, that might mean some areas may not get quite as much along the Nebraska-Kansas border, but be prepared for at least 1 inch along Highway 36. And then further to the south you go, the higher probability of getting more in that even 8 to 10 inch range. Some areas could still get about 5 to 8 inches in that darker blue area, but generally about 8 to 10 is likely. And then, of course, all that in mind, we have those wind chill values 5 below to 20 below zero. All right, so where's my panic meter now? I had it at a level 2, allow extra travel time the past couple days. Now I've upgraded it to stock up on supplies. Now, with that also being said, be mindful that you might be able to go out Sunday afternoon or Monday. It's going to be awfully cold. You're still going to have to deal with some snow, but because it might be fairly easy to plow this snow out of the roadways, you're not going to be stuck for several days like areas down where South Oklahoma and Arkansas may end up dealing with. This is not a huge long-term after effect once the snow is over. I think it'll be fairly quick for road crews to clear the roads. So, if you are going to be out on the roadways, make sure that you have a travel safety kit with you. Have some supplies. And let me full screen this so I can read it because it's actually really small for me on what the list says. Okay, so we have you'll want a full tank of gas. Make sure you have that full tank of gas. You can do it today, you can do it tomorrow. Have a blanket in your car, first aid kit, sand or a cat litter, shovel or a scraper or phone charger if you're going to be out on the roads at all between Friday night through obviously the weekend, but maybe even Monday morning if you're not going to be out on the roads over the weekend, but you do have to go back to work or maybe going back to school Monday. We'll see what happens with delays or closures. You'll want to have these safety kit in your car to make sure that you're prepared for that. And with closings, keep in mind that make sure to go to WIBW.com/close for information on how to do that closure. You should have an account on being able to close it. If you do not, if you don't remember how to access your account, email close@WIBW.com and someone who has access to that email will get back to you to be able to help you with that. Wind chills, 5 below to 20 below zero the entire time between late tonight through, I would say, Monday morning too. So it's going to be the entire time. There's a chance that Sunday afternoon there may be a few areas that do get slightly above 5 below zero, maybe even slightly above zero, but that would be very limited with how long that would last. We do warm up, though, in the 20s and 30s next week. That's still well below average for this time of year. It should be around 41 this time of year. And that graphic's not working. But today may end up being the warmest day that we'll have for the rest of the month. So enjoy it. Take advantage of it. Prepare. We'll have more details on the potential snow, when it's set to arrive, and how much to expect throughout the rest of the day today and, of course, tomorrow. But right now, it does look like that most areas should not have any accumulating snow on the ground by sunset tomorrow. And if you do, it's a dusting. better chance of accumulating snow beginning after sunset heading into tomorrow. We'll continue to keep you updated. Check back in at midday in Kansas for the latest, and we'll see you again later on today and tomorrow as well.